You are 19 years old. You work fast food in Orlando. You make about $30,000 a year. And some nights you are standing at a gas pump deciding whether the money in your account is going into the tank or into your stomach. That is not a dramatic way of putting it. That is your actual life. When you told me that, I felt my whole body tense up. Because people hear fast food and think starter job, little side money, something temporary. They do not picture a teenager already making adult survival decisions. So start there. When you say you are choosing between gas and dinner, what does that really look like in your world?
It looks ugly, man. It looks way less dramatic than people think and somehow more humiliating at the same time. It is not some movie scene where everything falls apart at once. It is me getting off a shift late, still smelling like fryer oil, checking my bank app under the gas station lights, and seeing I have just enough money to solve one problem, not both. So then I am standing there thinking, all right, if I put 10 in the tank, I can get to work tomorrow. If I buy food, I might not make it to work. And the craziest part is I work in a building full of food. I spend all day handing bags out to other people, and then I am in my car wondering if crackers at home count as dinner.
That is such a brutal contradiction. You are surrounded by food all day, but food still feels unstable. Before we go deeper into that breaking point, give me the basic picture of your life. Where in Orlando are you living? Who is at home with you? How long have you been doing this? And what does 30,000 actually feel like once it hits real life?
I live with my mom and my little sister on the west side of Orlando. 2-bedroom apartment, older complex, nothing cute about it, but it is home. I've been at this job a little over a year. I started right after high school because the plan was supposed to be simple. Work for a while, save up, help out a little, then start classes. That was the clean version. The real version is my mom's hours got shaky, rent kept climbing, insurance is insane, gas is gas, and my little part-time life turned into me being one of the people the house depends on. So when people hear 30,000, they act like I should be grateful and comfortable. Grateful? Yeah. Comfortable? No. That money is gone before it even feels like mine.
That line matters. Gone before it even feels like yours. Because when people talk about low wages, they talk in these big, clean numbers. But nobody lives inside a number. They live inside a paycheck, a due date, a tank that is almost empty, a text from home asking if you can help cover something. What do you usually hand over at home, and what else are you carrying yourself?
I try to give my mom $400 every month, sometimes more if I got decent hours and nothing went wrong. Then I have my phone bill, car insurance, gas, random house stuff, and whatever little emergency shows up because there is always something. My sister needs something for school, the house needs groceries before payday, somebody forgot detergent, a light bill comes in higher than expected, and my car is old, so every weird sound feels expensive. That is the part people do not get. Poor is not just low money. Poor is everything in your life feeling one problem away from becoming 5 problems. So even when I have a little money, it never feels relaxed. It feels assigned. It already belongs to something.
And Orlando is the kind of place where transportation is not optional. If your car is down, your whole life gets smaller fast. You miss work, you cannot help at home. You cannot pick your sister up. You cannot do anything without asking for a favor. So gas is not just gas. It is access. It is mobility. It is tomorrow. Is that how it feels when you are making those choices?
Exactly. Gas starts feeling holy when you are broke. That sounds stupid until you live like this. Food can be delayed. You tell yourself you will eat at home, you will eat later, you will drink water and go to sleep, whatever. But if the car cannot move, then the whole chain breaks. I cannot get to work, which means I make less money, which means the next decision gets worse. So a lot of times I choose gas because gas protects the next paycheck. But that messes with your head too, because your body is sitting there like, all right, cool, so we are not important now. We are just the machine carrying the machine to the other machine.
That is a heavy sentence for a 19-year-old to say. We are just the machine, carrying the machine to the other machine. Walk me through a normal shift, because people flatten fast food into this simple thing. They think it is easy because they have only ever seen the front counter. What does the inside of a normal day feel like for you?
A normal shift starts before you even clock in, because you are checking your phone to see if somebody called out and whether your manager is about to ask you to come early. Then you walk in and it hits you all at once. Heat, grease, sugar, salt, headset noise, timers going off, people yelling from different stations, bags crinkling, soda machine, fryer beeps, all of it. If I am on drive-thru, you have people talking in your ear nonstop while the timer over your head is making everybody panic because speed matters more than anything. If I am on front, you are smiling at people who act like you personally designed the prices. If I am bagging, it is just pure speed and memory and not messing up while somebody is already asking for the next thing. There is never a real calm. There are just different versions of pressure.
And you are carrying that pressure while people talk about the job like it barely counts as work. That has to get under your skin after a while. What is the part of it that the average customer never sees?
The body part. That is the first thing. People do not see your feet after 6 or 7 hours. They do not see the way your lower back tightens up. They do not see little burns on your arm from reaching too fast because the rush has your brain moving ahead of your body. They do not see you in the bathroom splashing water on your face just to reset before going back out there. And they definitely do not see how hard it is to stay nice when the 10th rude person of the day is mad about something you do not control. Customers see 30 seconds of you. Your family gets what is left. That is the hidden part. By the time I get home, I have already used up my calm.
How does that show up at home? Because I think a lot of viewers understand being tired. Fewer understand what it does to your relationships when all your patience gets spent somewhere else.
I get quieter. That is the big one. My mom will ask me something normal, and I will answer like I am irritated, even when I am not trying to be. My sister wants to tell me something from school, show me a video, ask if I can help her with something, and I am physically there, but my head is still at the store. I hate that. I really hate that. Because strangers get this fake polite version of me all day, and the people I actually love get the tired one. There were nights my mom would be cooking or talking, and I would just sit there staring, not even trying to be rude, just empty. And then I would feel guilty on top of tired, which somehow makes you even more tired.
That guilt sounds constant in your life. Guilt if you do not work enough. Guilt if you are too tired when you get home. Guilt if you spend money on yourself. Guilt if you cannot show up for somebody. Does it ever feel like there is no version of this where you get to feel innocent?
That is exactly it. There is no clean win. If I say no to extra hours, I feel guilty because the money matters. If I say yes, I feel guilty because then I am missing something at home or I'm dragging myself around the next day. If I buy myself food or shoes or something small, I feel guilty because I know what else that money could do. If I do not buy anything, then I start feeling like my whole life is just work and postponing. It is like every decision comes with a little charge on it. And I know people will hear that and think I am being dramatic, but after a while, guilt becomes background noise. You stop noticing how loud it is because it is always there.
When did the job stop feeling temporary? Because almost everybody starts something like this saying, "This is just for now." Then one day you realize now has lasted a while.
It stopped feeling temporary the first time my mom asked if I could help a little more with bills, and I said yes before even checking if I could actually do it. That was the moment, because once somebody else is depending on your paycheck, the job changes in your mind. It is not just your little stepping stone anymore. It starts becoming part of the structure holding other people up. Then school kept getting pushed. I would say I was going to apply next semester. Then something would happen. Hours got cut, car problem, rent got weird, mom needed more help. After enough of those, the delay starts feeling normal. That is what scared me. Not one big failure. The way a temporary thing can quietly become your life while you are busy solving immediate problems.
And you are saying that at 19, which tells me some part of you already knows the danger here. Not just being broke, but becoming used to a life that is always one emergency away from collapsing. I want to ask about your friends, because this kind of grind changes who you can be around and how available you are. What happened to your social life?
It got real small. My boys stopped hitting me up as much because I was always working or too broke to say yes anyway. And I do not blame them. Nobody wants to keep hearing, "I cannot, I got a shift," or "I cannot, I am trying to save gas." After a while, you stop getting invited because people assume the answer. Dating got weird too. I talked to this girl for a few months, and she was cool, like genuinely understanding. but there is only so long somebody can date your exhaustion. I would show up tired, distracted, doing mental math over simple stuff, checking my phone to see if work was texting. One time she told me, "You are here, but you are not really here." That hurt because it was true.
That is one of those sentences people do not forget. You are here, but you are not really here. It sounds like the job was not just taking your time, it was taking your presence. And that is different. That is deeper. Was there a moment before the gas station night where you started feeling that emotionally? Like something in you was already beginning to crack?
Yeah, my little sister had this school thing. Not even some huge graduation type event, just something that mattered to her. I told her I would try to come. My mom could not make it because of work, so I was really trying to move stuff around. I asked my manager for the night off. He did that manager thing where they do not say no directly. He said he would see what he could do. Then the schedule came out and I was closing. I asked again and he told me he needed somebody reliable. That word messed me up. Reliable sounds like a compliment until you realize it means they know you will sacrifice first. So I texted my sister and told her I could not make it. She just replied, "It is okay. I know you are working." Real simple. That message sat in my chest all day.
Because when kids say it is okay like that, sometimes it is not okay at all. Sometimes they are just learning how not to ask for too much. So you are carrying that text around. You are already feeling bad. And then that shift happens. Walk me into that night slowly. I want the whole scene.
It was one of those nights where everything is slightly off from the start, so you know you are in for it. Somebody called out, another person came in late, and it was busy in that annoying way where there is never a full rush, but it also never slows down enough to catch up. Tourists, families, people from nearby hotels, Uber orders, drive-through wrapping around, all of it. My manager was stressed, which meant everybody else got talked to crazy. I burned my arm reaching across the fry station because I was moving too fast. A customer started cussing because we forgot sauce in a bag I did not even pack. Somebody in drive-through kept yelling hello into the speaker like the world would end if we took 10 more seconds. And that whole time, I had my sister's text in the back of my mind. Not loud, just sitting there.
So even before the gas pump, your body and your head were already overloaded. Keep going. You close the store. What happens next?
We closed late because everything took longer. When the crew is thin, even basic stuff feels heavier. Sweeping, wiping down, stocking, trash, all of it. By the time I got to my car, it was that kind of tired where your hands feel slow. I sat there for a second in the dark before starting it. The gas light had been on since earlier. I already knew it was bad, but I checked my account anyway because maybe something had not gone through yet. Maybe I forgot I had a little more. I had $12 and some change. That was it. Total. And I remember laughing once, just out of disbelief, because the whole day felt insulting at that point. Like, really? All that, and now this? So I drove to the gas station and just sat there looking at the pump.
And what were you feeling in that moment? Not the clean answer, not what sounds good later. What was the real feeling?
Embarrassed, angry, small. That is the best way to put it, small. I felt like my whole life had been reduced to $10. I felt stupid for working that hard and still being in that position. I felt embarrassed that if somebody looked in my window, they would just see another broke kid at a gas pump, and they would never know how hard I had gone all day just to end up there. I felt angry that I missed my sister's thing, and the reward for being responsible was standing there hungry. And underneath all that, there was this colder feeling. Like maybe this is just how adulthood works for people like us. Maybe this is the deal and nobody says it out loud.
That is devastating. Because that is bigger than one bad night. That is a belief forming. That maybe this is just the deal. So what did you do?
I put 10 in the car. I did not even fill it, just 10. I stood there holding the pump and I remember thinking, all right, tomorrow is protected now. Tomorrow I can get to work. And that thought made me sad too, because it meant I had chosen tomorrow's labor over tonight's body. I drove home, went in quiet, did not wake anybody up, drank water, found some crackers in the cabinet, and that was dinner. Then I went back out to my car for a minute because I did not want anybody seeing my face. And yeah, I cried. Not some huge breakdown, Just sat there with both hands on the steering wheel and cried because I was tired of being grateful for things that still hurt.
I was tired of being grateful for things that still hurt. That is one of the most honest things you have said. And I think a lot of people live in that exact tension. They have work. They are thankful. But the work is still hurting them. After that night, did anything change? Or did you just get up and do it again?
I got up and did it again. That is the ugly truth. I did not have some movie moment where I quit and walked into a better life. I had an opening shift 2 days later. That is what people do not understand about low-wage work. Quitting is expensive. Courage is great, but savings are useful. Another job lined up is useful. Family money is useful. I did not have those things, so I went back. But something did change inside me. Before that, I still thought if I just worked hard enough, kept my head down, stayed reliable, things would naturally improve. After that night, I started seeing the limits of being dependable in a system that likes dependable because it can lean harder on you.
Now I want to challenge you a little because you have said this job drains you, humiliates you, keeps you hungry, and steals your time. But I can also hear pride when you talk about being good at it. So help me understand that contradiction. What part of you still gets something from this work?
I am good at it. That is the truth. In a rush, I do not freeze. I know how to move. I know how to read what is about to go wrong before it fully goes wrong. I can help a new person without making them feel stupid. I can calm down a customer sometimes. I can keep the line moving when everything is starting to drown. And there is pride in that. Real pride, not fake pride. I know I am one of the people making that store function. So yeah, I resent the place. But I would be lying if I said it did not also give me a feeling of being needed. And when the rest of your life feels shaky, being needed can feel really close to being valued.
That is such an important distinction. Needed can feel really close to valued, but they are not the same thing. Sometimes being needed just means you are the one who absorbs more. Do you think management knows that about you? That your reliability is tied to your pride?
I think they know I care more than some people, and I think workplaces use that. Not always in this evil mastermind way, just in a very normal American job way. They see who answers the phone. They see who comes in on short notice. They see who can handle pressure without immediately falling apart. And then that person becomes the answer every time something goes wrong. You get called responsible, mature, dependable, all those nice words. But what it really means is your boundaries start getting bought for cheap. The reward for doing a good job is usually more job. That is the thing nobody puts on the poster in the break room.
Have you started feeling older than you are? Because everything you are describing sounds like accelerated adulthood. Not the fun version, not freedom, just weight.
Yeah, I feel older in all the boring ways. My feet hurt, my sleep is weird, my patience is shorter than I want it to be. I think about bills all the time. I think about my car all the time. I think about schedules and gas and whether the house needs groceries. I look at other people my age and they still have this lightness to them. They can be spontaneous. They can waste a little money and call it a memory. They can sleep late and recover. My life feels scheduled around survival. And I do not mean that like I am on the edge of death. I mean survival as a mindset. Protect the paycheck. Protect the tank. Protect the next week. That is not how I pictured 19.
What about food itself? Because I have heard this from a lot of workers. The place that gives you access to food also gives you a messed up relationship to eating. Did that happen to you?
For sure. First, after a long shift, the smell gets into your skin so bad that sometimes the food there makes you nauseous. You have been around hot oil, salt, sauce, soda syrup, all of it for hours. So even when you are hungry, that food does not always feel like food anymore. It feels like work. Then you start eating weird because you are tired and broke. Maybe you grab fries because they are there. Maybe you skip eating because you do not want to spend money after work. Maybe you get home too late and just drink water and go to sleep. There were days I realized all I really had was a soda and something quick standing up in the back. That is not a healthy way to live, but survival is not elegant.
Did your mom know how bad it got sometimes? The gas or dinner nights, the skipped meals, the emotional part of it?
Not all the way. My mom knows enough to know I am stressed. She can tell by my face when work has me messed up. but I try not to dump the worst of it on her because she already has enough in her head. She has her own stress. So I do that thing a lot of people do, where you downplay your own struggle because you think protecting other people means carrying it quietly. I would come home and say I ate already when I had not. I would act like the check was fine when it was ugly. I would say the shift was whatever when really I felt wrung out. And on one hand, that is love. On the other hand, it can make you feel lonely because nobody fully knows how hard your inner life is getting.
That loneliness feels important because you are surrounded by customers, coworkers, family, noise, messages, and still somehow you can feel alone inside the struggle. Was there anybody you could really say the whole truth to?
Not really at first. Coworkers get it, but everybody is dealing with their own mess, so sometimes talking about it just feels like adding another weight to the room. Friends who are not in it can be supportive, but they do not fully understand how money stress changes your personality. And family is family. You do not always want to let them see the whole thing because you think you are supposed to be strong. So a lot of it just stayed in my head. That is why this conversation matters to me, honestly. Because when stuff lives only in your head, it starts sounding normal. Saying it out loud makes me hear how much of my life has been built around not falling behind by 1 inch.
You just said something big there. When stuff lives only in your head, it starts sounding normal. That is how people get trapped. They normalize pain because it arrives in small pieces. I want to ask about anger. Not the polished version. Real anger. Who are you angry at?
Some days I'm angry at the customers. Some days I'm angry at managers. Some days I'm angry at myself for being too scared to make a bigger move sooner. Some days I'm angry at how expensive everything got so fast. And some days I'm angry at the whole fake idea that if you work hard, things automatically get better. That lie gets pushed hard. Like hard work matters, yeah, but hard work without leverage can just make you a very tired person with good attendance. I think that is what made me colder after that gas station night. I stopped believing effort alone was enough. Not because I became lazy, just because I could not keep worshiping a story that was not protecting me.
That is a mature realization, but it is also a painful one. Because once you stop believing effort is enough, you are forced to ask harder questions. Strategy, access, education, networks, timing. All the things people pretend do not matter because they want the world to sound fair. Did that shift the way you started seeing your future?
Yeah, before I thought in a very simple way. Work more, save more, eventually move up. After a while, I realized that is not a real plan if the wage stays low and life keeps getting more expensive. You can become extremely efficient at staying stuck. That scared me. So I started looking again at school, at different jobs, at trade programs, at anything that felt like movement instead of maintenance. But then the fear comes in. Because when your life is already tight, taking a risk does not feel exciting. It feels dangerous. What if I cut hours for school and then the car breaks? What if I leave for another job and it is worse? What if I fail? People say take the leap like there is always a net. A lot of us are looking down and seeing pavement.
That is real. Taking a leap sounds different when the ground is expensive. Now tell me about the thing happening right now, because you told me before we started that there is a decision in front of you. Something that could either help you breathe or pull you deeper in.
Yeah, my manager wants to move me up. Crew trainer first, maybe shift lead after that if I keep doing what I'm doing. So it is more money, not life-changing money, but enough to matter when you live close to the edge. And at the same time, I have been looking into starting school part-time. Nothing fancy. I am not sitting here saying I'm going to become a surgeon next week. Just trying to build something. Business maybe, or something that leads to management outside this world. Something where I do not cap out so fast. So now I am stuck in this place where the job is finally saying, "We see you," right when I am trying to ask whether being seen here is actually good for me.
That is the complication that makes this story hit even harder. Because the job is not only pain, it is also offering a little bit of relief, a little bit of status, a little bit of recognition. And those things are powerful when you have been starving for them. What do you honestly want to do?
Honestly, I want both, which is the problem. I want the extra money because my life is real. Bills are real. Gas is real. My mom needing help is real. But I also know how jobs like this pull you in. They give you a little more, then suddenly you are answering more calls on your day off, covering more shifts, taking responsibility for other people, caring about food cost and labor like the place is partly yours when it is not. So part of me wants to take it because I am tired of being broke. Another part of me is scared that if I take it, I will look up at 22 and realize I got promoted into a cage I already knew I did not want.
You said earlier that being needed can feel a lot like being valued. I wonder if this promotion is testing that exact wound in you. Not just your finances, your identity, your need to feel seen. Does that land?
Yeah, that lands hard. Because if I am honest, part of me wants someone to say I matter. I want proof that all the extra effort was not invisible. I want to feel like I am not just another kid in a visor that anybody can replace tomorrow. And that is emotional, not just financial. I know that. But I also know validation can be a dangerous reason to stay somewhere, especially if the place validating you is also exhausting you. That is the weirdest part of being young in jobs like this. You are not just negotiating pay. You are negotiating your self-worth with people who do not actually own it.
What do you regret most so far? And I do not mean in a dramatic all-or-nothing way. I mean the thing that stings when you are quiet.
I regret how fast I accepted a shrunken version of life. That is the truth. Not because I had easy options and just ignored them, but because survival can make you too practical to dream. I regret some of the moments I missed with my sister. I regret how many times my mom got the tired version of me. I regret making my life so small around work that it started feeling normal to ask permission just to exist. And I regret not being more honest sooner about how bad some of it felt. Because silence can look like strength from the outside, but on the inside, it just becomes pressure with nowhere to go.
What are you proud of? Because I do not want this whole conversation to flatten you into struggle. There is resilience here too. There is care here. There is skill here. So what are you proud of?
I am proud that I show up. I know that sounds basic, but when your life is heavy, showing up is not basic. I am proud that my mom can count on me. I am proud that my sister sees me trying, even when I come up short. I am proud that I did not let embarrassment turn me bitter toward everybody. I am proud that I got good at something people love to disrespect. And I am proud that even with all this pressure, some part of me is still looking for a way forward. I did not let the job convince me this is all I can be. It tried, but it did not fully win.
That last line is powerful. It tried, but it did not fully win. If a 19-year-old watching this is in the same kind of job, same kind of city, same kind of pressure, what would you tell them that is not fake motivational nonsense?
I would tell them being tired all the time is not a personality. Do not let survival become your identity. I would tell them to respect the job, but not hand the job their whole sense of self. Learn what you can, be good at it, show up, sure, but keep some part of your mind pointed at the door. Keep applying, keep looking, keep asking what comes next, even when you are exhausted. And I would tell them, shame will make you hide, but hiding makes everything worse. Tell somebody the real numbers. Tell somebody when it is getting heavy, because once you say it out loud, you can at least start making decisions from truth instead of pretending you are fine.
What would you tell your younger self? The version of you right after high school, still thinking this was just a short stop on the way to something else.
I would tell him, do not confuse being needed with having a future. I would tell him, help your family, yes, but do not disappear inside helping. I would tell him, the world will reward your reliability right up until the point it breaks you, so protect your mind early. I would tell him, save every little bit you can, not because saving solves everything, but because options need oxygen. And I would tell him not to be ashamed of wanting more. That was a big one for me. Sometimes when you grow up around struggle, wanting more feels ungrateful. It is not. It is human.
That is beautifully said. Wanting more is not ungrateful. It is human. Do you think this conversation changed anything for you, even a little? Because sometimes saying your life out loud rearranges it.
Yeah, I think it did. Saying it out loud makes it harder to hide from the truth that I have been living in reaction mode. Not because I am weak, just because I have been trying to keep everything from falling. But hearing myself talk, I can tell I do not just want relief, I want direction. Those are different. Relief is a little more money, one good week, a paid off bill. Direction is a life that is not built around the next emergency. I think that is the clearest thing I have heard myself say today. I do not want to just feel less pressure. I want a future that does not depend on being under pressure all the time.
That is the kind of clarity people hope for and do not always get. So now the real question becomes what you do with it. You have this promotion possibility. You have school in front of you. You have family depending on you. You have your own hunger for stability and dignity and room to breathe. What happens next for Andre?
What happens next is I stop acting like I have all the time in the world. I think I'm going to take enough responsibility at work to survive, but not so much that it swallows the bigger plan. I do not know yet if that means taking the trainer role or not, but I know I cannot let a small raise become my excuse to freeze. I'm applying for classes, even if it is one or two, even if it is slow. I need movement. My sister starts high school next year, and I do not want her memory of me to be that I was always at work and always tired. I want her to see me building something, not just enduring something.
That hits me, man, because the title of this conversation sounds like money, but what we really talked about is time, dignity, identity, and what gets taken from you when your whole life is arranged around barely making it. You are 19, and you already know what it feels like to trade dinner for gas, presence for income, energy for dependability. But you also know yourself. You know the job did not fully define you, and that matters.
Yeah, I think that is what I want people to hear more than anything. I am not ashamed that I work fast food. I am ashamed of how invisible people like me are until they need something quick. There is a difference. This job is work, real work, but I also know I do not want my whole future built inside this exact level of struggle. So if somebody watching this is in the same spot, I hope they hear that both things can be true. You can respect the work and still want out. You can be grateful and still hurt. You can love your family and still feel crushed by responsibility sometimes. None of that makes you weak. It just makes you honest.
And honesty is where real change starts. Not in slogans, not in fake hustle talk, in honesty. A 19-year-old kid in Orlando should not be standing at a gas pump deciding whether tomorrow's commute matters more than tonight's meal. But a lot of people are living some version of that. That is why this conversation matters. Not because your story is rare, because it is not rare enough. Andre, thank you for not giving us the cleaned-up version. Thank you for telling the truth.
Thank you for letting me tell it straight, because I think a lot of us are carrying stories like this and talking around them, and once you stop talking around it, you realize how much of your life has been shaped by things you kept calling temporary. I do not know exactly what the next year looks like. I know I am still going to have bills, still going to have stress, still going to have nights where things feel tight. But I also know I cannot keep confusing survival with a plan. That is probably the biggest thing I am leaving with. I do not just want to get through the week anymore. I want to build a life where getting through the week is not the highest goal.